Hi, I'm Ian Graham-Leask. I'm the publisher at Calumet Editions. Very pleased today to be talking with my friend and author, Gary Lindberg, who's written a wonderful book called Letters from Elvis, and we are going to have a little talk with him right now to see if he can share some experiences about how this book came about. Gary, tell us a little bit about what your personal goals were in writing this book.
My goal, very simply, is to present the unknown story of Elvis and seek new understanding and respect for a man who was one of our country's greatest cultural icons. During his later years and after his death, Elvis became the object of considerable contempt and ridicule. Despite his continued reign as the undisputed king of rock and roll, popular opinion seems to be that he wasted his enormous talent and untapped capacity by allowing his health to deteriorate and consuming vast quantities of drugs. He had become a bloated and unhealthy parody of himself. These letters help explain the reasons behind Elvis's decline, and they reveal an immensely abused person who was physically and psychologically tortured over many years.
How were these letters discovered?
In 1988, I received a phone call from an artist friend who also collected celebrity memorabilia. He'd become involved with a cache of handwritten celebrity letters that he believed could be the basis of a book, and he asked me to participate in the development of that project. All the letters, written between 1966 and 1972, were addressed to the same recipient, a woman named Carmen Montes, who had become a spiritual advisor to the letter writers. When Carmen died with no heirs, the state of California sold her possessions at auction. Carmen's best friend bought several items, including 3 unopened suitcases, supposedly containing garments. One of these suitcases contained the celebrity letters, some still with postmarked envelopes.
Why were the letters handwritten?
Carmen Montes asked the individuals that she assisted spiritually to communicate mainly through handwritten letters. She seldom talked to them in person or on the telephone. And of course there was no email or text messaging in those days. Carmen believed that she could gain greater insights if those she served wrote out their messages, an action that requires some focus. I suspect that she also believed she could intuitively decipher moods and perhaps even personality traits from their script. Regardless of how the handwritten messages may have helped her mission, it's certainly fortunate for us if these conversations had taken place electronically today, when virtually no one writes letters. We would not have the authenticated paper trail that we have with these 5 correspondents.
Tell us more about this spiritual guide.
Carmen Montes is a genuine mystery woman. Historical records we have discovered show that she was born outside the U.S., she claims in Spain. She worked in the Hollywood film industry until a serious accident caused a spiritual transformation. She shifted gears to assisting in the spiritual development of people in the industry, actors, stunt people, producers, musicians, etc. Eventually, she became an ordained minister in the Universal Church of the Master, a small California-based faith that believed in direct communication between the spiritual and physical worlds. Carmen seemed to possess a rare combination of authenticity, charisma, intelligence, and spirituality that attracted people looking for a spiritual guide.
And how did Elvis meet Carmen Montes?
It's widely known that Elvis was a true spiritual seeker. Throughout his life, he aligned with many different spiritual gurus and movements, including his hairdresser, Larry Geller, the Self-Realization Fellowship in Pacific Palisades, founded by Paramahansa Yogananda, and many others. Elvis evidently met Carmen through a mutual friend, Harry Belafonte, another spiritual seeker whose letters to Carmen are among those that served as the basis for this book.
You mention in the book that there are 265 letters. How many of these did Elvis write?
We have 65 letters written to Carmen by Elvis Presley. The famous actor Marlon Brando wrote over 100 letters. The remainder were written by Harry Belafonte and the singer Tom Jones.
Of the letters written by Brando, Belafonte and Jones, which group interested you the most?
Each of these individuals wrote deeply personal, sometimes confessional letters, and all of them contributed fascinating and often startling facts. But I was most captivated by the letters that Marlon Brando wrote to Carmen. These letters not only reveal a true and previously unknown friendship between Marlon and Elvis, but reveal some behaviors that are quite shocking. At times, while writing a letter, Marlon channels the spirit of a dead girlfriend of Elvis, as well as the spirit of an Indian chief. Marlon's handwriting changes during this channeling, and he signs those passages with the spirit's name. In the book, I discuss various explanations for this behavior, but the reading of letters composed by multiple personalities was an eerie and memorable experience.
And the big question on everybody's mind is obviously going to be, how can you be sure that these letters are authentic?
Original letters were submitted to a world-renowned handwriting analyst, Charles W. Sachs, who became famous as the authority who testified in a famous legal case involving documents purportedly signed by Howard Hughes. His opinion settled the case, and we have his written opinion of authenticity for the Elvis letters.
Do you believe that the shocking events described in these letters are true?
In the sense that I believe Elvis, Marlon, Harry, and Tom reported real events and beliefs as best they could, yes. I believe no one intentionally lied or made anything up. In many cases, letters from one writer corroborate events reported by another. But in the sense that the very act of remembering and later recording events that often occurred while traumatized, it seems inevitable that some reported details may be incomplete or wrong. In some cases, such as Marlon's channeling of a deceased person, or seeing a ghost at a going-away party for Elvis, I've explored alternative explanations in the book. I'm content in leaving conclusions about these things up to the readers.
Where can listeners and readers purchase this book?
Beginning November 1st, 2018, Letters from Elvis can be purchased as a trade paperback or Kindle on Amazon, and as a paperback in all good bookstores. The audiobook will appear a little later.